It is another smoky day coming from my little corner, and I'm super delighted to share this recipe with you. My name is Smoky, and it's always a pleasure to have you here. For this recipe, I have some bone-in beef, and then that is my powdered onions and garlic. You can check my previous video. One way I store my onions is by making it into a powder form. I also add in some salt. This is blended coriander, cumin and fennel that had been roasted a bit, and then I have some turmeric and ginger powder also going in. Recipe of all this are available on my channel. I'll leave the links in my description box. Other ingredients I'll be using for this recipe is tomatoes, bell peppers and some onions. I'll go ahead and put my onions in my halogen oven. You can do this in your regular oven or over your charcoal or coal pot if you're in Ghana. So once this is smoking, I'll just go ahead and check on my beef. Give this a good stir and let it steam. For the veggies in my halogen oven, I am using a temperature of 200 degrees at 20 minutes. And if all the veggies would have fit in, I probably would have fit in my tomatoes as well. But that is not happening, so I am just doing that in batches. Now my meat is nicely steamed. You have all these beautiful juices around it. I'll go ahead and heat up my oil. I'm using coconut oil. Now I have some shallots and some garlic. I'm going to pour that into my hot oil and fry that until it is just about to brown. This will also add some additional flavor to our stew. At this point, I would like to remind you to give this video a thumbs up if you have not done that. It is a way of supporting me, and also subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Thank you. So once this browns nicely, I'm just going to get everything out and then we continue with the process. I'll be dropping some bay leaves into this hot oil. This will also release its own beautiful flavors. Then I'll go ahead and fry our meat. I'll go ahead and take part of this oil. The reason being that I want this oil to cool a bit while I use it to blend the onions and bell peppers. This process wouldn't have been necessary if I were able to get all my ingredients at once into my halogen oven, because the tomatoes would then have been juicy enough to move the blades of the blender. So bell peppers and onions done, tomatoes is now in. Now this is the shallots and onions that I fried earlier on. Shallots and garlic that I fried earlier on together with the oil that I took, and I'll be blending that. While that is happening, I am going to get this meat out of the oil. Between you and I have over fried this meat because I am multitasking today, so that's what happened. This wasn't what I wanted initially, but it's not that bad. It's not too hard. It's just okay. So I've added my blended bell peppers and onions and shallots and garlic to this, and then I am giving this a good stir. I'm washing my blender with the stock from the meat, that is the beef, and then I'll give this a good stir. I forgot to add my scotch bonnet pepper to my ingredients, so I just added that to my tomatoes to continue doing its own thing in the halogen oven. So these tomatoes had also been in the halogen oven for a temperature of 200 degrees at 20 minutes, and this is how it is looking, just the way I wanted. Now the only thing I didn't smoke, just like when I did the smoky mackerel stew, was ginger. So I added that to these tomatoes without any water or anything. I just blended it, and this has reduced the cooking process. The water in the juices in the tomatoes had evaporated, you know, in the oven, and additional flavor had been added to it because of all the smokiness that's happening in there. Now I'm adding in my Badia complete seasoning. I love that spice because of the herbs and everything that is in there. I'll give this a stir, and you know what, even though this meat was over fried, it worked so well because this was part of a meal prep and it had to stay in the freezer for some time, you know. So by the time we took it out to eat, the juices from the stew had just married well with this meat, and it was just so juicy and so tasty. This is best with some waakye, delicious and good with some rice, some spaghetti, and oh, this for your jollof is absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Smoky. Always a pleasure to have you here. Please like this video, and I'll see you again in another one. Stay safe and stay blessed. Bye.